New York. Professor Shaw, give us your thoughts on the situations that have taken place in Philadelphia right now following the shooting of Walter Wallace.
Yeah, Walter Wallace, a young man with his entire future ahead, who very clearly suffered from schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or whatever mental health crisis he was suffering through, with his mother right there with him trying to protect her son. And here you have two police who arrive on the scene, do nothing to investigate or de-escalate the situation, and you have another 27-year-old young black man with his entire future in front of him who's murdered by the police. His life is stolen away. Clearly on the scene, we needed mental health professionals. We needed the community deserved doctors and other people, social workers, to de-escalate the situation. Very visible, there was a taser in one of the cops who murdered Walter Wallace. He had a taser. He chose not to use it. So it doesn't take 6 months of training at a police academy to know that there's so many different tactics the police could potentially use if they cared about black life, if they cared about our communities, so that these shootings did not end up in the murder of innocent black people.
Professor Shaw, how would you assess the response that Donald Trump has given, not just in this situation, but in similar instances that have occurred over the past few weeks and past months? How would you rate the president's response in that regard?
What Trump and the right wing have done immediately is glossed over and ignored these murderous police actions. And Wallace was not the only person killed this week. Ricardo Munoz in Pennsylvania, Lancaster. We had a young man who was riding his bicycle, according to the police, a scooter, excuse me. According to the police, he didn't have a helmet, so the police went into high pursuit, and ultimately leading to the death of another young man in D.C. So Trump, in a propagandistic fashion, ignores these police crimes, these human rights violations, these murders, and only then focuses on the response from the people. They want people to stay quiet. If there's civil disobedience and mass marches, they ignore 95% of the people, and they want to just go focus on what they call looting. But we're very clear in terms of who the true looters are. All of these billionaires who've seen their wealth rise since March, when the pandemic first hit, to the tune of $1 trillion that the billionaires of the U.S. have gained. Well, the rest of the country, 53 million people who are reporting acute food shortages in their homes. So the differences between the rich and the poor, between and the white supremacy against the black community could not be clearer.
Professor Shaw, so basically you're saying that the U.S. President Donald Trump, instead of calming down the situation and easing the tensions, he's basically inciting it further.
Oh, definitely. This plays right into Donald Trump's hands, because the millions of viewers of Fox, when they turn on Fox, all they're going to see is looting, looting, looting. So you criminalize and you demonize and you vilify dissent. And the hypocrisy, when everything in this country is about the quote-unquote American Revolution and fighting against the redcoats and the Brits, but when black people fight for their self-determination, for their sovereignty, for their dignity, against humiliation, against fascism, against white supremacy, against a long 5-century history of police terrorism, they're attacked from every side. And even Joe Biden refused to condemn the police. He only condemned the quote-unquote rioters. So here we have this typical cherry-picking propaganda, which plays right into the hands of the fascists and the conservatives.
So is divisiveness being used as an election tactic now?
No question. Trump wants to speak to his base. Every headline from Philadelphia right now is about looting, or one person was shot, or this or that happened. Anything that can sow this mentality of the suburbs. And when they say suburbs, they're dog whispering to, white America and conservative white America, you are not safe. You need this quote-unquote savior in chief. You need Donald Trump to save you. It's the same thing that Ronald Reagan and George Bush and and Nixon did this whole idea of law and order, but law and order translates into the systematic repression of voters, of the most oppressed. The last thing our community needs is more police and more repression. What we need in our communities are equality, educational and employment opportunities. And Trump wants to go in the opposite direction, even though his public rhetoric, he swears that he's the best friend of Black America. Nothing could be more ridiculous. But when you're a filthy billionaire who gets so much attention from the media, particularly Fox, he can say whatever he wants, and his toes are never held up to the fire.
Professor Danny Shaw joining us.